It's me, Ollie B, back with another Dub Juniors podcast. This time I had the opportunity to chat with the fantastic Kerri, Rowland and George Sawyer from the highly successful Wild Child animation team. Thanks for joining me today, guys, and also for casting me in the brilliant world of Tom Gates Series 3, now out on Sky Kids. I'm a huge fan of the series, the books, and caramel wafers.
Very good.
Let's kick off with some questions. I've just jotted them down just so I remember them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best way.
First of all, can I ask you both if you have a favourite episode in Series 3? I know I do, but it'll be great to hear what's yours and why.
Oh my goodness, that is so difficult. There are so many good episodes, I think.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
I mean, it has to be either Mrs. Worthington's Secret or Super Rooster.
Oh, yeah, Super Rooster.
I loved Super Rooster.
Is that the one where he gets put in the competition?
He has a dream that he is a superhero and he fights this donut monster with the aliens, and it is
Mega Donut.
Mega Donut.
Which I do the voice of Mega Donut, which is not a lot of people know. I speak like that. I'll get you, Super Rooster.
Whoa!
Yeah. And the voice of Rooster. Sorry,
Yeah.
which is So I'll be quiet. But why do you like that so much, Kerri?
Well, I love that it kind of goes. I mean, I love the adventures that Tom has with his friends, but I just really loved that we had this insight into the inner world of Rooster and his personality and him believing that he could be fighting all of these monsters and aliens. And I just loved the song.
The song is absolutely epic, isn't it?
It was brilliant. I loved it so much. And it was really hard. There were so many good songs this series. And every time I heard one, I was like, oh, this song is my favorite.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the next one would come in. And I was like, no, this one's my favorite. But Superstar Rooster, 100% my favorite.
I think Superstar Rooster is one of the songs that, like, if it came on in a nightclub, I don't go to nightclubs. Not anymore, not in these old days. But when I did, I would probably just be like, "Yeah, what's this?" Like, it's an absolute banger, and which is also like, and this is a testament just to like shout out to Liz Pichon and her husband Mark Flannery. Her daughter is also the vocalist of that particular track, so they are a family of like incredibly like mind-bogglingly talented people. Well, I would have said, like, I really like that episode because it is so different, and I think that it is really good fun, and it's really dark, and it feels like a sort of a different episode. It's really tricky. I really like the Bug Expert episode. And I think it doesn't have a sort of unusual story in terms of like it follows Tom and his friends at school. I just love Mark Clump in that episode, how he's sort of like this kind of like, he's a nerd, but it's his superpower, and I love that we kind of give that a kind of superpower because he knows so much about bugs. And then rather than the Bug Expert sort of stealing his limelight, they're like bonding over how gross insects are, and there's just that moment when they're like, yeah, it sucks out the goo. It's just like talking about spiders and how sort of how they prey. I just thought that was a really nice episode. Like, Tom has a great part in it, and there's really good banter between him and Marcus in that one. I like the one when Marcus takes over. I think that's really fun. But I think the Bug Expert is, it's just great. And also Catherine Tate does the voice of the Bug Expert in that, and she just came in and just did that Kiwi accent. It was just so fantastic. She was really, really brilliant. So I think I'll go for that one. And it's also, again, the the song with the bugs, which is just absolutely, yeah, it's awesome. That's a really, I could probably dance to that in a nightclub as well. I might have to go to a nightclub.
Play on the songs from Tom Gates. Just
Yeah, exactly. I'll request those. Please excuse me, DJ. And then if they don't have it, I'll just leave in disgust. How dare you? Yeah.
so mine has to be the epic treasure hunt in episode 20,
Oh, amazing.
where they all find like the caramel wafers on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Two of
That
them
was
is meant
tricky.
to be the full one. One of them is meant to be the one they're going, oh, that one, that one, that one. And then it turns out all of them are empty.
Yes.
And Norman goes, is there some chocolate to lick off inside there?
Yeah.
It's empty. And like they're like, no, what are you on about?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is a really
like that one. That's really goofy and funny. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think this, that it's hard because we get to love all of them, and I think that's actually it's definitely a good a good sign, because I've seen them so many times and I still sort of watch them and still kind of still laugh at the jokes and enjoy the animation and the music and everything. So yeah, that is a really good one. I love a caramel wafer as well.
Can I give another one? I know I'm only meant to have one, but I really liked Delia's present, because I just really loved that Tom did something so nice for her and she actually really loved it. And it was just like this special little moment. But like neither of them are like very clear on how it made them feel. Like it was all very
totally
subtle. Like she loved it, but she was like, yeah,
it was really nice. Normally they have the like hate sort of relationship. Like Delia's always looking down on Tom and like, oh, why are you doing that? But in that episode, it was like really nice. Like they had a bond.
Yeah, that's true. It's definitely a kind of they don't really hate each other. It's just that classic sort of love-hate thing that kids and teenagers and do often with their younger siblings. But I think that's a really good shout as well, because they're it's Ruby Ashbourne Circus who plays Delia, and she just delivered that with such like nuance, didn't she? She really gave a kind of really lovely subtle performance, and then that was really it's credit to everybody in the show, because they don't get to act off each other, and she delivered that, and I think she did that really nicely, and that it was a touching moment, and getting that right in the animation was really tricky actually, to kind of find the balance and get that right. But it is a nice moment, definitely.
So how long did it take to produce series 3, from making the animation to recording the voices to it being released on Sky Kids?
So we started writing in February, and we then started recording the voices around April, and then the animation, we finished the animation and delivered everything to Sky by the end of November. So that was about 10 months, I would say, in total for everything.
Yeah, but it sort of started percolating, but it's a hard line to draw, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it kind of started percolating and with meetings and all of that stuff before that. But was it 10 months?
Yeah.
I wonder what the actual the hours are of people working on it though, because that's kind of like it's 10 months.
Yeah.
Surely people don't appreciate like how long that would take and how much effort and commitment that would take, because some people think it just like it takes a few weeks.
No, totally. Well, if you think about like, even I always talk about TV like I say like a TV show is like an iceberg. So that little top of the iceberg that's floating out of the water, that's the show that everybody watches. But all underneath is all the stuff and all the hard work that everybody puts in. And if you just think about like even like Logan, who obviously plays Tom brilliantly, he gets his scripts and he goes away and rehearses those scripts with his mum and his dad, who are brilliant, and reads those everybody goes off, and he's away doing that for I don't know how many hours, but then he comes in and records those. And so if you think there's that little side bit going on, and there's us sort of writing scripts and preparing, and there's all the kind of logistical arrangements of getting organizing everything and putting it all together, and then all the animation, so many layers. It's a show like that, particularly with animation, especially with animation, it's a monumental task that requires lots of brilliant people to be brilliant, and including yourself.
Well, thank you.
Do you think about? Yeah, we can think about all those. You did all your research by devouring every book before you even came to an audition. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, as the producer and director of the show, how do you decide what voice a character will have? Like, for example, do you know what accent or tone you're looking for before starting the casting process?
Well, we did want to kind of show a real range of voices. I wouldn't say we were kind of decided on any character's accent in particular. But also, Wild Child is a Scottish company, so we definitely wanted some Scottish voices, and we knew that.
Isn't Amy Scottish?
Yeah. And we recorded those in Scotland, actually, didn't we?
Yeah.
So
in Glasgow.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that's really nice to kind of get to recorded some in London, some in Glasgow, and then some of the grown up actors, have booths, voiceover recording facilities at home, so they do it online. But yeah, I think it was just about getting the best people for the job, really, and it was quite an exhaustive search. Like, we really did listen to a lot of voices.
Because we'd already done a couple of series, like any new characters that you're bringing in, you kind of want to make sure that the voices are going to fit in with the other voices that you have, so that they kind of sound like you want to make sure that no new actor is going to sound exactly the same as one of your existing actors, because you need to make sure that those voices sound different. And I think when you know what the character is like, then you can look at exploring sort of how that's represented in the voice. So like, if you have a really quiet character, you probably won't cast somebody who is very like loud and brash. You want to try and find it, especially like you want to kind of find similar personalities, I guess, for your voices. I think especially more with children, whereas like with adults, they've obviously got more experience and like bigger range and like like different accents, all of that kind of stuff. I think with would you agree? Like that?
I think that's right. I do think that's right. We were kind of looking for not a complete match for the characters, but a sense of looking for somebody who might feel a bit like that. And obviously, but actually, having said that, you're nothing like your character, but you put that voice on, and that's quite that's a good leap. I think a lot of Logan's able to do that too, to sort of do a few different voices. But with the adults, they've literally got like a Mark and and Adam, particularly, and they've just got a box of voices and they can do lots of stuff. But it was very much trying to find the balance of everybody, putting everybody together, and listening to a lot of voices, a lot of really, really good people out there. I think that's the key thing. It was very, very difficult at points, just listening to 3 or 4, or actually, with some of them, I think even more than that, maybe 5 voices going, well, any of these guys could do it. Like, any of these, people would be brilliant at that voice. It's really hard to make the decisions. But luckily, there's kind of, in a sense, because it all goes through Liz as well, so she has an opinion, and then Sky have an opinion. So we eventually go, okay, well, if there's a sort of collective that chooses in the end.
Yeah, what would you do with that? Because if the 5 people all fit the role, would you then put it onto Liz and Sky and see what they say?
Well, everything went through Liz and Sky, didn't it?
Yeah.
Kerri anyway.
I mean, I think you were in a position where you would put forward who your favorites were, and then I think
Yeah,
there's just a discussion so that everybody kind of there just needs to be an agreement that everybody's happy for that that person to be selected, but it can be quite a difficult, and you might have like, I guess, a sort of almost recall stage, like because you have to
mm,
like test people like to make sure, like I think if there's any doubt, and it's like it's a really, really difficult situation.
totally. Those recalls are
It's
really
hard.
important because you
Mm.
get then the sense of what it's like to work with somebody, and yeah, I think that was really key. And I give a top, do you want a top tip for recording voiceovers?
Yes, please.
From my perspective, we had a bunch of really, really good people send us in their tapes for Delia, for when we were recasting Delia. And the person who got the job in the end was, they just gave every line, every sort of section they did it 2 or 3 times. This was Ruby. She did it 2 or 3 times. Uh, and so you might think, oh, I'm not sure about that version. And then you go, oh, but that version's great. And so, and this might not be the same for everybody, but that really worked for us. She just gave us like 3 or 4 options of everything that she did. And so you could almost pick and choose which I don't think anybody else did that. I've given that tip since, on since hearing that first tape. I was like, okay.
How did you find your process for you to be cast?
Well, it was so I got an audition in for Derek,
Yeah,
and I think I got a recall for Derek, and then I got the part of Norman and Solid. So I had to put on like sort of this voice for Norman and like a really deep voice for Solid. It
yeah.
it was it was fun. It was fun, the process, yeah.
And how did you feel about going in for one character and then coming out as someone else entirely?
It was it was new because it's never happened before, but it was a experience sort of because now I know if I audition, I can then get out with different parts.
Mm.
So it
Yeah.
was, yeah, I really liked it. Yeah,
I think that's good for other people to hear about as well, because as
yeah,
part of the casting process, you're trying to find actors to fit a character. And actually, if you come in for one character and we think, oh, actually, maybe that that person's not right for this character. However, like we have these other characters that we need to
yeah.
cast, then
Yeah.
actually they might be really good for that. So I think it's just good for, I guess, for other people who are maybe going to see this to learn from like your experience that actually like production are and like the team involved are trying to find the best people for the characters to serve the project. And it's not even necessarily, it's not a personal thing ever. It's really just
Oh
No,
no,
about
yeah,
the project and what fits. And
yeah.
but that's
I
right.
actually, yeah, I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting that you came in for Derek and you went out with Norman and Solid.
And that's about what you were saying as well, Kerri. I think the balance of the voices, because we were like, oh, well, you were so good, but we felt like, oh, maybe your voice and Logan's voice, yeah, together, we were looking for the balance and trying to give something distinct from that. And but you were so good that we were just like, oh, well, out, let's try Ollie out on a couple of other things, and yeah, that
It
was
worked.
worked out very well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what advice can you give to our listeners who may be interested in voice acting for animation?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the thing about when you do submit an audition, doing a couple of versions, and a few people did do that actually. It wasn't just Ruby, but I think that's a really good tip for me from listening to that. I was suddenly sort of opened up a load of options.
I've never thought of that before, but that's a really good idea because
Yeah.
they have more option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that's definitely a good tip. Um, I guess for me, like one of the things that I would do when we would go on the calls and we would do the auditions, I'd often the recalls, I'd often not look at the person and just listen. But in terms of the acting performance, I would say act you should act the whole thing in terms of act it out, not just focus on your voice,
Yeah.
because I don't want to get distracted by how funny and brilliant your physical performance might be because I'm just listening to the voice. But I think if you put in a good physical performance, that naturally just helps the vocal performance. So that would be a tip for me, I think.
Okay, so the last one is a big question. Can you please confirm live to the nation series 4 will be coming soon? Because I've searched up on the web everything, can't find anything of a series 4. So I want to ask you right now, is there going to be a series 4? I can confirm that both Norman and Solid are very much available.
Then we'll do it. Oh, that's funny.
Yay!
We can neither confirm or deny that series 4 is going to happen.
Okay,
Our
okay,
lips are sealed.
okay. I see you there, George.
Yeah, I was literally physically sealing my lips.
Mhm.
All right, well, hopefully in the near future I'll be able to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure in the near future you will discover.
Okay, thank you. Well, that leaves me with just one more thing to say. Thank you both for your time today. I've loved chatting with you so much. It's been absolutely wild.
Oh,
Oh,
thank
thank you so
you.
much. Really, and it's really lovely to, obviously we've been a while, I've personally been a while away from the show, so it's really great to kind of, come back and talk about it again and still feel enthused about it. So thank you very much for the opportunity. I look forward to listening to the show.